Maseches Brachos Daf Mem. The Gemara discusses the halachas of the hefsek between a bracha of hamoitzi and eating pas, and the Gemara says different shitas that if someone says havi melech, havi lifton, salt is a tzarich of the suda, or gilaturi to give to the animals, which is also a tzarich of the suda, it's not considered a hefsek. Beis Yosef learns that's a machlokes rishonim. According to Rashi and Tosfos, it has to be a tzarich of the B'tzias HaMoitzi. However, according to the Rambam, as long as the hefsek is a tzarich of the Suda, it's not considered a hefsek. Tosfos learns what makes a hefsek is the fact that it's a hesech hadas between the bracha and the B'tzia. There's a number of interesting discussions in the poskim about this halacha. The Magen Avraham says that one can't be mafsik from when he makes the bracha till he swallows. It's not enough he puts it in his mouth. Other poskim say it's enough that he was toyim, he tasted it, and the Magen Avraham says that since it's mavur in the Gemara before and Daf Yudalid, that if you taste, you're not mechayev a bracha. So you see that the main bracha is on the swallowing, not on the tasting. So therefore, you can't be mafsik until you actually swallow. Mishnah Brewer brings down that it's even better to eat entire kazayis before. Which is tzarich ian. Why you should need a kazayis? Even less than a kazayis needs a bracha rishona. So the dogma of Rava says that since the bracha is chal on what you're eating right away, and the rest is chal with greira, only with the kazayis is choshev enough to be goyra everything else. The Bechacha says that you only chayiv netilas yadayim on a kazayis, so therefore you have to wait until you eat the kazayis. The Chayei Adam in Hilchas Tvila says a chiddush in the bottom, Nishmas Adam, he says the raya from our sugis, and we spoke it out in Daf Lamed Daled B'siyat D'Shmaya, that he says that if someone's a milish mana esrei and he's not sure what the halacha is, he could go to the Svarim Shank and get a sefer, and v'tzorichian if you could ask somebody, and the Chayei Adam says near that it's mutter to ask a shayla milish mana esrei if you don't know how to continue, and on the bottom he says that the side is from Al Gemara over here. The Al Gemara is mevur whatever is the tzorich of the eating is not considered a hefsek, so what didn't you milish man esrei? If you needed to continue with asking a shayla, it's not considered a hefsek. On that, the Emek Bracha asks that it's different. Shemana esrei is oimer lifnei hamelech. It needs a much higher level of concentration, devotion to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So over there, it's easier to be a hefsek for ayin sham. There's another interesting discussion in the poskim. The Ramah brings the shittas of Rishonim that if someone is being moitzi others with a bracha rishona, the Ramah says that as long as the mavorich ate without a hefsik, even if those listening to him were mafsik between the bracha and eating, it's not a problem. Since it was chal the bracha by the mavorich, the shemeya, if he's mafsik, it's okay. On that, many achronim ask, and the Mishmura says it's kamat das all the achronim, not like the Ramah, that the same way there's a hefsik by the mavorich, there's a hefsik by the shemeya as well. The achronim point out, you see from here what the gather of shemeya kohen is. We spoke on that phase. There's a tremendous machlokes achronim what the gather of shemeya kohen is. The Chazon Ish says that shemeya kohen works whatever the bracha of the mavorich shtel zich zu to the shemeya as well. However, the Beis Halevi's opinion is that to Shemeya, when he's listening, it's if he made his own bracha. So from the fact that the Ramah says that as long as the Mevorech was not mafsik, it's enough for the Shemeya, you'll see clearly, like he's understanding, like the Mahalach of the Chazon Ish, that the Shemeya is yoitze with the bracha of the Mevorech, and therefore how much the bracha was chal, and it was by the Mevorech, without a hefsik, so that bracha goes for the Shemeya as well. But if it's as if the Shemeya is speaking out as independent bracha, so his independent bracha should require him not to be mafsik. Other achronim say that there is over here is mavur, a different mahalach, that since they were sitting together, hisebu yachad, it's considered like guf echad, and the tasting of the mavorech shtel zich zu to all the mesubim, so it's a specific halach over here. It won't be a raya to what the gather shemeya koina is in kol Torah kula. The Gemara brings the shita of Rav Huna that shakal niya b'dvar does not work on pas and yayin, and Rashi says the reason is because shegoyim brachas harbel atzmoi b'kiddush ubehavdolo ubebirchas chasan. Very hard to understand what Rashi means. What's the shaykhis? These brachas to the bracha of Bor Pri Hagafen on drinking wine of Birchas Hanenin. Rav Pala says in the Sefer that you see from this Rashi a Kiddush and what the gather of Bor Pri Hagafen on Kiddush is and what the gather of the Bor Pri Hagafen of Birchas Hanenin is. He says that when you make a Bor Pri Hagafen on Kiddush, it's not only a Kiddush of Birchas Hanenin, it's also Birchas HaShvach. And he says further that you see from Rashi that ordinary Birchas Hanenin of Bor Pri Hagafen has built into the actual Birchas Hanenin an aspect of a Birchas HaShvach, and that is the bracha that we have when we go and make a Kiddush or Birchas Chasanim, etc. So therefore, there's a specific guidelines, dafka in Bor Pri Hagafen, that you yotze the Birchas Hanenin of Bor Pri Hagafen, so therefore you cannot be yotze with a shackle niye bidvaroi. Moving further on, the Gemara brings the halacha of vidui maisris lo shechachti milevarich. I did not forget to levarich, and Rashi says levarich means birchas hamitzvus on afroshas trumas maisris. Rashi's a pelat suma. Birchas hamitzvus is drabanan. Over here we're talking about vidui maisris, which is deraisa, the tzlachas narichas, and he says it's ikrim deraisa. Rav Paler in his sefer says, he brings a biskurovi as the kasha furthermore, that the bracha is nothing to do with the chalois trumas and maisris. It's independent choyvos habracha. So what does that have to do with the trumas and maisris? So if Paula says, you see from this Rashi, and he brings other rayas, that the bracha on Afrosh's trumas is not like just on the mitzvah, but it's on the chalois truma as well. So therefore, it's meishich shayich to videi maisris. So he's miyashiv with it. The discussion that we spoke out on Daf Tesvav, that you see from the one Daf Tesvav, that if birchas hamitzvos will be deraisa, will be ma'akiv truma. And the Chortz Tzarchian, that it's a raya that all birchas ha-mitzvahs, if they will be the raya, it's ma'akiv, it's kash from birchas ha-Torah. The Pala says it's specifically by truma, because the bracha on truma is on the chalois hafroshas truma. The Gemara says the al pas she'ifshe v'yayin shehikrim, on pas, on bread that got moldy, you make a shackle niyabidvari. The Rambam brings this not only for shahakol, he says the bracha achroina on these items, you make a shahakol, is a bori nefashis rabbis. The Bialacha asks that Rambam is a pella, because Bishloima, in regard to the bracha rishona, which is the Rabbanon, this is a heim tiknu, that b'chai gavna, that it's ifsha, you're not m'chayiv a birchas hanenin. You're not m'chayiv birchas hanenin of hamoitzi. However, the gabe birchas hamazon, which is the raisa, and the raisa you seveya, and the fact that it's not kishmak, it's achila edchak shmoa achila. So why should you not mechayiv a birchas hamazon? On that, the Bialacha says that in a chanami, maybe when you ate the k'dei svia, you are chayiv in birchas hamazon, even on pasha ifsha. The Shalmei Nisan and the birchas Avram and Babasa say that it's meduik in the Rashbam and Babasa, a different pshat in the Rambam, that when it's ifsha, it loses its shem lechem, and it loses its toyas yayin. And that's the reason why you're not chayiv a birchas hamazon lacherel. So the learning of the Rambam is saying you need a toras lechem to be mechayiv birchas hamazon, and that's why when it's ifsha you lose the bracha. This is not like what we learned in Daf Lamed Ches. Rav Pala said b'das Rashba that birchas hanenin is choluk from bracha rishona, the brachas on the pri, and bracha achroina is on the min of the shivas aminim, because that's the pshat. Then you wouldn't need a Torah's lechem b'chlal for the bracha achroina. See, the Rashba is not going like this Rambam.